You're going to watch as well, are you? That's fine. Hello, Alexis. Alexis, I'll connect you. Hopefully that's connected. Yes, that looks good to me.
Yes, hello, Chris.
Hello, Alexis. How are you?
Fine, fine, and you?
Yes, really, really good. Let me just move one thing quickly. Bear with me. And that's better. So, thank you for joining us on Instagram.
Okay.
It's very nice to see you. Hopefully the weather is not too bad where you are.
A little bit. We saw some damage, but we wait the next week to really see the real effect of the frost. So we cross the finger because we have some little damage. It's not the same that in Burgundy or in the south of the France. So
No, the Burgundy worst, wasn't it? The Burgundy, I saw the pictures from the Burgundy. I know some of the Champagne region had a bit of loss, a bit of damage. Hopefully it was early enough that the weather was bad, that a good percentage will see spring and obviously give you fruit for the harvest. So, but sorry for the bad news, but nonetheless we have Alexis here from Xavier Leconte, Champagne, and you are based west of Epernay, which is the northern part of the Champagne region. And I'm trying to remember everything. I think 1870, the history of the business goes back to, and you had around 40 small parcels of vineyards in the region, which gives you a great opportunity to express different terroirs, which you have varied vintages of that you keep in oak barrels. So anybody that wants to explore your champagne are going to get a good kind of idea of the different kind of flavours and aromas that each region offers you. You've also got, I looked online, and a very nice little gîte, a nice cottage that people can book with you online to stay and obviously enjoy the wonderful region of the Marne Valley where you're based. So that's an introduction to you. Did you want to also explain your family, the history, and anything that I have missed?
Yes, so now I'm the sixth generation of wine grower. So the first wine grower started in 1870, and my father was the first generation to create a press and the winery. So since my father in 1978, so we start all the vinification. So now we are independent wine grower and winemaker. So with the very old, old generation, and it's all is located in Troissy and Dormans, so just the city after. On this part, we have approximately 95% of our vineyards, and we have, like you said, 42 plots on 10 hectares, and we have approximately 75% of Meunier, around 15 of Pinot Noir, and after so Chardonnay. We don't have a lot of Chardonnay, but it's not our consumption to have a lot of Chardonnay, because we really respect the terroir, and that's we have since a very long time a lot of Meunier and Pinot Noir, and we know that we are with our black soil and that a lot of argil is better to have Meunier on this part.
So, I mean, that region has a lot of the Pinot Meunier, as you say. So for people that don't know, the Chardonnay is a white grape, and the Pinot Noir and the Meunier, used to be called the Pinot Meunier, is the black grape, the red grape.
Yeah.
as such. But even though they're black grapes, they still can produce white wine, which is not a lot of people know that. But it's the juice that produces the wine, and the skin produces the colour. So I went through. So you've got oak barrels, which I like to see myself. I prefer that. So do you have an oak barrel per plot?
Yeah.
Individual plots?
Yeah, that's right. We have today. If we look on all the estates, we're 35% of the vineyards at the vinification is the oak on this part. We just make the vinification in the oak barrel just for the selection. So we have in each grape a very good selection, and it gives this a special collection. We call this Stélé de Terroir, and we make so one is called Le Clos de Poilou. It's 100% Pinot Noir. We have La Croisette. It's the name of the plot for the selection of the Meunier. And for the Chardonnay, we use all the time the plot called Le Langret. And we can translate for you in English like a long road, because when we start, we have 200 meters when we start to make the pruning. So it's a very long time to make the pruning in this plot. But
Yes.
And we have a particularity that my grandfather don't like the clonal selection. So we have very old selection. We call this Massal. We have a lot of selection from 62, 64, and we use this plot to when we regrow a new plot on the estate. We use one of the two plots, the old plots, to have this. So this for me, it's a very, very good to have a very old selection.
So how long have you been working in the business? Ever since you was young enough to work, or recently?
I always work on the estate, but I was a first life, professional life. So I was an enologist, and I worked during 4 years in Alsace, just near Colmar. So I make some advice to some winemaker, just near around the time Colmar, and I work a little bit in Burgundy. So I have really liked the feeling of the terroir, and really respect this. And for me, in Troissy, we can say that we have 4 different terroirs for the Meunier, with 4 different expositions. So we respect that, and during the harvest we make a lot of selection to like I say, like a painter, when they really want to have the good nuance of blue, and they need to have a lot of things to have the good blue that you want. Or like a perfumer, when you want to create a fragrance, for me it's like this.
So how important is the River Marne? How important is that river to the grapes, to the vines?
So
is it important?
Yeah, it's we really feel this, and we have 2 mill plots on the other side, on the terroir of Vendières, and we feel the difference between the two sides. One of the left side with Troissy more on the north, and the difference with Vendières more on the south. We really feel the difference with the exposition. And we have, like in London, we have sometimes foggy during the harvest on the Marne Valley, and we see that when you are on the bottom of the valley, you have all the fog stay, and at between 9 and 10, all the fog are removed. So it's very fun to, and you really feel the difference and the influence of this part, and the exposition. It's very important.
because a lot of wine regions are based around big rivers because they influence the weather. This is for the viewers. So it can do things like reflect the sunlight. It can reduce the temperature during hot days for the vines that are around it. And it can have the reverse effect. It can warm the temperature up if it's a little bit cold as well. So it's not just that it feeds the vines with water, although that is one tiny part. It has quite a stabilizing kind of action to the immediate vineyards around the river. So as you said, you was at Alsace, and Alsace has lovely kind of rivers around it, beautiful vineyards on the rivers there. Yeah. But the river, the Marne, in the northern Champagne region is very important and has a big influence on the grapes, thus the champagne produced. So you've got quite a few champagnes on your website, I see. Yep. How many bottles a year do you produce from your winery?
So we produce approximately 60,000 bottles per year.
60,000. Yeah.
On three different range. One, we call this the collection. One is collection with all the time a majority of Meunier. Like the Cœur d'Histoire, it's 100 Meunier, and it's our classical non-vintage. So just you have, something fruity with some freshness, but the classical champagne. After we have a collection called a signature. So we have the signatures. For me, it's really the photography of the estate, with the blend, because it's 80% Meunier, 15 Pinot Noir, and 5 Chardonnay. So it's really the photography of the estate outside, and it's the photography from inside, because you have 25% of vinification in oak, 33% of old wine, and all our old wine stay in big oval barrel, and we make a perpetual reserve all the time. So we don't keep each year wine, but we refill all the time in the big oval barrel, and to refresh all the time the wine. So my father started this in 1978. So I have one barrel with a little part of the vintage 78.
Really, I know. I go to some champagne houses, and they've always got a very precious barrel somewhere that has the blend of many years ago, a grandfather or a great-grandfather, and they don't want to touch it. They want to leave it as part of their history, but it's an important thing to have. It means that the generations of years ago can still have an influence on the wines that are produced today. And you also do something that not many people know of in England, is something called Ratafia Champenois, which I'm a big fan of. I really like this liqueur. And you produce 3 different blends, different styles, which is the Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Meunier. So do you want to explain exactly what Ratafia Champenois is?
So for the Ratafia, we make, so like you said, the 3 with all the time just 1 grapes. And we use the same plot that we make the single vineyard all the time, because I really want to show the difference on the same terroir and the influence of the grape, and to have something very pure, and to really feel the difference with the Meunier. For me, with a lot of peach aroma, very the yellow fruit, the apricot. The Pinot Noir is more on the plum, something with more acidity, more strong, but very nice. And the particularity of our Chardonnay in the valley with our black soil, that is we have Chardonnay more on exotic style. So more on the pineapple, more with the brioche, something more fruity, or something like a macho peach. For the Ratafia, so during the harvest, we just make the press. So we have something with no alcohol, it's just must. And we have approximately, with the good maturation, around 200 grams per liter of sugar.
Right. Yes, it is around about that, isn't it? Yes,
Very
quite
high.
high. Yeah.
So we make the press, and after we wait 24 hours to have a natural sedimentation. And after we add spirits, like a fin, we call this fin de champagne. And we make the blend with the must and the alcohol. And after we obtain something around 18 degrees of alcohol and approximately 150 grams of sugar. And after this operation, we put our ratafia into oak barrel. And the particularity of the house is that we bought some oak barrel from Cognac to make the maturation.
Nice.
Because I really want to have, the spirit, the flavor spirit. Because I really like the Porto Blanc, the white Porto. And for me, when I recreate the ratafia, I really want to have this style. And I say, so to have the press, we need to go to put in oak with all the time spirit. And our particularity is that I make my own spirit. So with my own wine, during the 1 week in January, we have communal alembic. So during 1 week, I stay on the alembic and make my own spirit. So it's very fun because this for me it's very all remember because my grandfather make a lot of spirit when I was young. So I remember when you arrive, he makes some make distillation of wine, of cherry, because on this part of the valley we have a lot of cherry, but a specific cherry. And so it's very old memories, and we restart to remake the distillation in 2015. So for me, it's very fun because it's the same alembic like my grandfather. So the alembic is the same that the beginning of the 19. So it's very, very fun to make this. And for me, it's the good way because I know that it's my wine, it's my grapes, it's all the philosophy we have, all our philosophy, and I love this. And yes, we make all the process from A to Z all the time on the winery, and this for me is very important.
Well, I mean, ratafia is known globally, and there are a lot of countries that produce ratafia. That could be Italy, Spain, it could be South America. But obviously, the Champagne region has a classification for their own ratafia, which is now called ratafia champenoise. So the Champagne must, the grapes, everything needs to be produced under regulations, but the juice, the fruits inside here are coming from the vineyards of Champagne. So obviously, it's not like Champagne itself. It's not bubbly. It's not a wine. No. It's more intense in flavors, but the way in which it expresses itself is very similar. For me, it's like visiting the wine cellar. You're downstairs in the wine cellar. You can taste the history, the atmosphere, and you get flavors all the way from citrus, pineapple, as you say, all the way to toffee, coffee, chocolate, oak. It's really an incredible kind of variation, light color to dark color. And there are some amazing examples. I was very lucky to do the awards last year, and we saw some amazing examples from smaller producers like yourselves, Alexis, to some of the bigger producers. But each one holds a special history, and a lot of time and effort goes into making it. And bit by bit, globally, the recognition is growing for this. So we'll taste some of these in a little while, but have you got the wines there to taste that I have?
Yeah, I see that you have the héritage of our Blanc de Noir.
I've got the
signature. Yeah.
The signature, yes. Should we try the signature to start with?
Yes, if you want. Yeah.
Okay. So this is at 80% Meunier, 15% Pinot Noir, and 5% Chardonnay. So it's driven by the dark grape and black grape varieties in the Champagne region.
We, like I said, this for us is our yes. This bottle really represents the spirit of our house, and for me, it's really the photography of our work, because this blend is the same that we have outside, and it's represent like the how we work in the winery with the 75% in tank and 25% in oak.
In the oak barrel. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think I've tasted your champagne before, if I'm honest. So this is going to be new for me. I've tasted lots of champagne,
so this is it's a bottling 18. So you have approximately 66% of the vintage 17, and after is our reserve wine. So on this research, we have some things fruity, and we have some creamy in the middle of the moss, and we just work with the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay to have some things with some freshness and with a good and a nice acidity to the end.
And how long has this been on in the bottle? How long has this been on the lees? How long do you...
On the lees is 3 years and a half.
So 3 years. So I can smell the longer yeast contact. So I'm getting the yeasty kind of touch of butter, cream, as you say, on the nose, really. So yeah, very nice. And that touch of nuttiness, Yellowstone fruits, maybe a peach, possibly more so apricot peach.
And yes, it really smells the Meunier and the fineness, and you have something with white flower, like today with the cherry, the
honeysuckle.
It's and you have some freshness, and really suggest to have freshness in the mouth to like I remember when I work in Alsace, I have some winemakers say all the time, you know, you really need to have a nice acidity at the end to really want to have a second glass. So this is really now the work for me to search, you know, to have finished the mouth with some freshness to really want to have a second glass after.
Do you like to maintain a consistency every year in the style of your wine, or do you prefer to work with the terroir and the weather each year? There is a slight variation.
It really depends of the collection. On the signature research each year to have the same spirit. So we reworked with the reserve wine to have approximately the same things every year. That is not that we don't want that when we make the selection of terroir, because I really want to have you know, the photography of the vintage and the expression of the vintage and of the terroir. So we search really two things different with the classical collection and the collection of terroir.
Yes, I understand. Because sometimes I've had vintages from the same winery, and they've been very, very different. But fantastic, but there's quite a different expression each time. So this is really good. The nose is fantastic. You can certainly smell the least aging. Does it have, a lot of viewers like to know this question, do you have malolactic fermentation? Do you reduce the...
Yeah, on this we have malolactic fermentation.
It's not. It's the acidity is there, but it's not too sharp. It's not too citrus. It's a little bit more rounded for me.
And you know, really now with our work in the vineyards, we all the time when we restart the harvest at the end. I am the last one of Troissy every year. I really wait to have, you know, I test all the time the berries during the 2 weeks before the harvest, and I really want to have the good balance with the berries. When the acidity for me it's good, I start the harvest. So I don't really see if the alcohol is okay or not. For me, it's really the tasting of the berries that say, okay, we can go. And I
So
will start.
the latest that you can. So you're going to reduce the acidity in the grape,
Yeah,
and you're going to have a little bit more sweetness coming
yeah,
from
that's
fruit.
right. You really smell that when you make the berries in the mouth. You really smell when it's a good time. You really smell, the citrus. But then if you cut a citrus and you put on the mouth, it's really that this impression of this. And we wait that the acidity more sweet, not aggressive. And
Yes.
when is this? For me, it's good. And when we look, we make the harvest with a maturation around 10.5 and 11% volume. So we wait very late. But that we have on the left side of the valley with a very long maturation of this, we kept a lot of acidity. So we have all the time the good balance, and it's the reason why, like you say, on the tasting, you can really smell the apricot, the peach, but also something mature. But we conserve all the time a very good acidity with a lot of freshness.
Well, it's a really good wine. To me, I would just assume it's like a vintage. So I would say like a 5, 6, 7-year-old vintage champagne. Very good, nice lees contact. I can really, that's really expressing the lees for me. The yeast, the dead yeast cells. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
And this for us, we really said to our customer that this is the classical champagne to have in aperitif. And if you want to start the meal, you can continue with this, with the seafood or thing. And when you want to finish the meal, and just after the dessert, if you we want to refresh the palate, it's a very good champagne. Because for me, the Meunier, with this flavor with the apricot, the peach, when we finish with some sweet, when you taste the Meunier, we have the impression that you have a lot of sugar, but not. So we really can with the dessert, we really can what you just want to finish with your friend when you go to the sofa, just to take another glass to finish the night. It's the good champagne to finish with your friend.
It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it hasn't got a high acidity. I'm a fan of that. I prefer less the acidity. I like the yeasty, the creamy, the butter expression. It's a typical champagne is what most people would know, the general public, the consumers would know. But it's got, as a person that's tasted a lot of champagne, I can recognise the longer lees contact and the expression of the stone fruits coming through. It's the fruits, the grapes are doing the work, nothing to do with sugar. It's the grapes doing the work. What's the next one should we try? This is the vintage, isn't it?
This is our cuvée Héritage. And Héritage, it's a Blanc de Noir.
Ça, c'est un Blanc de Noir.
Blanc de Noir, so it's 70% of Pinot Noir and 30% of Meunier.
So the Blanc de Noir, for people that don't know, will mean that it's made from black grapes.
Yeah.
So the Pinot Noir.
Yeah. Yes, the real translation is really we make white wine with red grapes.
Black grapes. That's it, yeah. Or you've got the Blanc de Blanc, which is you make white wine with white grapes.
Yeah.
So that would be the Chardonnay. So I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try this one here.
And this is 60% of the vintage 16 and 40% of reserve wine.
And again, the length of time in the bottle for this, Alexis?
This is it's a bottling 17, so it stays 4 years only.
4 years. That's a big commitment. That's a big commitment from you.
And on this,
Lovely.
the plot of Pinot Noir that we use, it's a special plot because the very good year we make selection of terroir, because this le Clos de Poilou. We have a lot of chalk on this.
Okay.
So all the time we recognize, because we have something with a lot of freshness, something smoked, and something with the pepper. When it's young, we smell that this something spicy. After it's more, it go more and more on the plum, something more with freshness, and that we have a lot of Pinot Noir. So on the mouth, we have something with more structure, and you really smell the chalk and this acidity and of this minerality on the mouth.
I get the chalk character. I got the nutty hazelnut, the walnut coming through with this as well on the nose, and then you got kind of soft fruit expression, but I've mostly got a chalky kind of nutty aroma from me.
And this you really can have this champagne for if you want the aperitif, but with a lot of food, or if you want to start to make a pairing, it's very nice. And this we sell a lot of this champagne heritage on the Asia market, and especially in China and in Taiwan, who have a lot of spicy food. And with the spicy food, the Pinot Noir, for me, it's one of the best pairing because the bubbles and the acidity of this champagne is very nice on pairing with spicy food. And it's very fun.
I can agree with you on that factor. I can also see me having this with fresh fish, possibly oyster, that's coming through to me. So you've got your wines. It sounds like you have international kind of sales going on. Taiwan, China, you mentioned.
Taiwan,
anywhere
China,
else?
Japan, the US. We sell a lot in Denmark, and a little bit in UK, and after Sweden, Switzerland, Italy, Spain, Finland, and Singapore. Don't forget Singapore.
And who represents you in England? What's the company name or the person?
You say?
Who sells your white champagne in England? Who's the person that sells?
We work with à la volée.
With who, sorry?
With à la volée.
À la volée, okay. I'll take a note of that. I'll put it on the video so people can find out where to buy your champagne from. But you've got your champagne in Taiwan, Japan. Taiwan, they like champagne, especially in Taipei, up there. A lot of the champagne bars. Japan is very well known for especially appreciating the finer champagnes of the growers, of the smaller producers.
Yeah.
So what percentage of your wine goes abroad, Alexis?
On the export market, it's approximately 35%.
35. It's very good. That's very nice for you. And do you have plans to expand the land, purchase more land?
Yeah. We took a look to extend on some markets. We talk about with people in Brasilia and in South Korea.
Okay, interesting. So a lot of the Eastern market, you say Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, China, and again, these countries do like very good wine. So well, I was going to ask you another question. So the family's been going for a long time. Are you working on the business alone, or have you got anybody above you or below you that are working in the business, in the family?
So I work with my father today.
You're working with your dad still, making a presence felt in his business.
So Xavier is the name of my father. So we still work with my father. So now we work together. So it's a good thing.
So he's been in the business since 1978. So 43 years as working in the champagne business. So that's a nice story.
And me, I start to work with my father really at the full time for the vintage 2013, because before with my work of enologist, I not at the full time. I not work at full time. I come for the bottling, for the harvest, but not really at the full time. So and for the vintage 2013, I say no. Now I don't want to make like a consultant. I want now to go to my vineyards and really work at full time and recreate all the collection of terroir and have my own vision and really work for me. So
that's
it's a good
nice.
thing, because when I came back, my parents don't work on the export market, so I really work and start on the export market 8 years ago. So yes, it's very fun for me, and it's a very pleasure today to share my passion with all the people in the world. So for me it's a good thing. And
it's a very good that your English is very good. It's a very good level of English, so that helps as well, because usually English is the common language of the world. So that's important. So we try the last bottle here.
Yeah, the Charme d'Anaïs.
Année, which is the 2014, so 2014 millésime, and this is 100% Chardonnay.
So the Charme d'Anaïs, so Anaïs is the name of my sister, and it's a Blanc de Blanc, so it's an only Chardonnay, and so the vinification is 50% in oak, 50% in tank, and we say that's the particularity of our Chardonnay in the Vallée de la Marne region. It's we're not really on the citrus aroma. We have more something more exotic, more on the pineapple, more something more mature with more fruit.
This is sounding good.
Yeah. So it's very nice, and we have
We've got a nice quart for the people that collect the capsules. There, you've got a nice kind of romantic, sexy kind of capsule. It looks like a lady has been designing this. I don't know, but
it's right. It's a lady make the
a very strong character there.
And so it's we make the bottling in 15, so it stay 6 years on lease.
6 years on lease, so it's going to have 6 years of the yeast contact and the dead lease.
And you have one of the first bottle of this vintage, because we have just finished the vintage 13. So we start today the sale of the vintage 14. And 14
thank you very much. Very nice.
Yeah. And you have something with fresh and research that to have something elegant, freshness.
I think with this one we've got kind of a yellow character. So I've got yellow rose petals, I've got honeysuckle, I've got apricots, I've got it's a lot going. Very fresh. It doesn't smell old.
No. No, we never work with new oak. For me, I work with the oak all the time. It's older oak, and they come from Burgundy, from France. In Meursault or Saint-Aubin all the time.
And I think I've got croissant with the sprinkling of the nuts on top. So again, I've got the nutty character coming through.
For me, the oak is just here to revolve the terroir and the grapes. I don't want to have a lot of smoked flavor. I don't like this. So it's just to have a good maturation because, you know, just after the press during the harvest, so we wait the natural sedimentation after 15 hours and we put directly in the oak. So all the fermentation, the first fermentation is in the oak, and after we make a maturation in the oak. So we just want to have, you know, a little oxidation, but control with the yeast, and just to have something. And like I said, we like to revolve the terroir, and we revolve all the potential of the grapes.
Yeah. Because sometimes, so people know, some winemakers will use oak barrels that have been charred, so slightly bit burnt inside, which gives a character to the champagne, which is kind of an external expression rather than what Alexis is talking about. Is all of the expression is coming from the terroir, is coming from the vines. Again, this is really nice. It's very fresh. It's fruity, citrus fruity. Let me carry on. But again, you've got a buttery, boss-on expression. It's clean. Again, this one for me is probably the best to go with different kinds of food. It's quite powerful. It's very fine gastronomy.
Yeah, you're right.
This one. Yeah.
Yeah,
so really good. Apples. So I'm getting apples now coming through on the nose. So they're very expressive. The longer you leave sometimes champagne in the glass, especially some of the finer champagnes, the different expressions it will make because more oxygen is coming into the wine, the bubbles are releasing the aromas, and if it gets to room temperature, sometimes it improves even more. So yes, so very good. I'm just concerned that you're not drinking at the same time as me. I feel terrible. I'm looking. So what we need to do now, if you don't mind, is I'd like to look with you at the Ratafia Champenois.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm using the Lehman glasses here. So a shout out to Lehman glasses. They have these wonderful glasses which are ideal for the Ratafia Champenois. It allows you to really get your nose in there to smell the liqueur. And to taste. Now, I've got all three here that you sent me. I've got the Chardonnay, I've got the Meunier, and I've got the Pinot Noir. Where do you think we should start? Which one should we start with?
I think it's better to start with the Chardonnay.
Yes, that's what I thought you'd say. The Chardonnay, let's get that.
And so Chardonnay. With the Chardonnay, so we use the same plot like from the cuvée Le Charme d'Anaïs. So it's the same grapes from the same plot.
Yeah. So again, we've got the colour is it's fairly a dark colour for the Chardonnay. Yeah. Usually, sometimes the Chardonnay can be quite very light in colour.
And we have we have a maturation in the oak for the Ratafia during 2 years minimum. 2
years. Does it have to be in oak?
Yeah, it's directly in the oak. Just after the blend with the alcohol, we put directly in the oak.
Right, and so it has to be stored in oak as opposed to in steel or concrete. Yeah. Or
and when we take directly from the oak to the when we make the bottling, it's directly from the oak to the bottle. So.
To the bottle. And I spoke with one person who kind of agreed with me. Can the Ratafia change its character in the bottle over a number of years, or does it remain the same?
No, it don't change a lot on the bottles. The maturation is just doing the maturation in oak. It don't change a lot because if you see the bottles, we have a special cork, and with this cork, you don't have exchange with the oxygen, so we can keep a very long time, and this is very good. And in the spirit, like I said, I prefer to have more maturation in the oak before the bottling, to have something ready to drink. When we recreate all the collection of Ratafia, I really like when I drink like Porto Blanc, white Porto, to drink to make a pairing with cheese. I really like this cheese.
Yes, it is cheese, isn't it? And some of the cured meats as well. It goes very well with. And I'm speaking to a few people on social media about the cigars and the Ratafia. Yeah. I mean, I did a big. I was a guest a few years ago in Epinay with I think the consortium of the Ratafia Champenois. And all of the guys, I don't smoke, so I don't know. All of the guys were enjoying these big, thick cigars with the Ratafia. So that's something I want to explore a little bit further. But I'm going to try the Chardonnay. Yes, I mean, yeah, I could try, but I don't know whether or not I'm going to appreciate it as much as the real smoker would do.
And
this is really good.
And we really refine when we make, for example, with the cheese, I know that I like with our Chardonnay is all the time with a goat cheese. Because
so a dry goat cheese or a dry goat cheese?
Yeah, a dry. Yeah. Because you have the same impression on the mouth when you have the tasting of the Chardonnay and the same texture. And for me, this is important when you make a pairing. To have the same texture and the same impression on your mouth with the wine and the food. And
the same consistency, so the palate doesn't have to work too hard. Yeah.
And the goat cheese is not you have not a lot of expression, and you smell the chalky, some things on the texture of the goat cheese. You're right. You have the impression that you have with the Chardonnay, with some fineness, light flavor, and yes, for me it's very nice.
Well, when I used to live in France a few years ago, and I used to love to get the goat cheese from the market, but I prefer the dirty black ones that are really and hard, and we used to keep them so that they really go hard. So you have to really cut them with a knife, and they break. And then that's when you say the consistency, you put them in your mouth and it's like chalk.
Yeah.
So then pairing with the champagne or with Ratafia Champenois would blend perfectly well. Silky, creamy texture. Yes. So this is really expressing itself wonderfully well. Yellow fruits, apricot, peach, possibly tropical, even touching on the tropical side on the nose. It's really good. The champagnes are amazing, but this literally goes up another level altogether. So, and again, you're not joining me for the tasting now. I feel so sorry.
Oh, but I have a glass of Ratafia.
Well, this is really good. So this is again, it's a yellow character, yellow fruits, apricot, dried apricot. We've got the honey coming into it. I'm getting a pastry like a shortbread mid-length, and then the close is a nut. I've got a touch of nuttiness, a very silky, creamy nuttiness towards the end. So yes, really good.
And really with my work with the terroir, I really want to show to the people that with the same grapes and the same plot, we can make different things. So you can imagine with the champagne, with the Chardonnay, so it's the same plot, and we make some champagne, and you can compare with the Ratafia. So this for me is very important for me to show with for the people that with the same terroir we can make a lot of things and very funny things.
Exactly, and this is still showing in my mouth. I've got the flavour, so it's a very long flavour that stays there. It's still going. So as you say, the grapes that produce the champagne are also producing the Ratafia, the Champenois. Really, really good. So let's try the second one. Do you think the Pinot Noir, maybe the Pinot Noir next?
The Pinot Noir next, I think. Yeah.
Pinot Noir.
Because for the Pinot Noir, we use the same that we said for the Heritage. We use the plot of called Clos de Poilou. So it's our single vineyards we make in the collection Cellier de Terroir. And that I say, it's a plot with a lot of chalk. We have just 30 centimeters of black soil, some argil, and after you are directly on the chalk. So you have something with smell with the structure. And this for me, if you want to have a good pairing, is good with a cheese like, an old Comté or a Parmesan, or you need something with a strong, and you really smell at the first nose the plum, the Mirabelle plum, and you really smell that we say before, the smoked flavor on this plot. And this is we have 4 different plots of Pinot Noir, and all the time when we make blind tasting, I recognize the Clos de Poilou because all the time it smells smoke and pepper.
Well, I've certainly got the dams and I've got the plum character. I've got the dried kind of dates as well. I have got the pepper. Now I'm getting the pepper, but a very soft touch of pepper. Maybe more uncrushed black peppercorn. And
you really smell on the mouth something more powerful, and we smell a little bit more the alcohol, the spirit, the fin de champagne at the end, but it gives some powerful at the end, and you have really finish on the plum.
You got the fruits, you got the almond as well. You got the marzipan almond in there. It's very strong towards the end. It goes like that, and it finishes very hot. But I've definitely got I've got an almond finish, and the length is really, really long. All of these are very similar in colour, I find. So you're getting similar. Is that because of the barrel that you use, Alexis, or?
No, it's just because with like I said, we make the harvest with a lot of maturation. So like we have black grapes during the press, you have a little skin contact, and you have some color come, and so it's the reason why we kept lots of little bit color. And after you write the oak and give some this color more dark, like classically if it's in the tank. It's the both. It's for me it's the maturation of the ratafia, the maturation of the grapes that it clipped a bit high, and all the alcohol we make a maturation during 3 years before to put in the ratafia. So all the conservation all the time is in the oak, so we have all the time something with more dark.
If you think about like sparkling wine, like Prosecco, so people know that are watching, Prosecco is a wonderful wine. I like it an awful lot. But it's produced, and within 2, 3, 4, 5 months, it's out on the shelves and it's forced out in the shop. Whereas the champagne, as what Alexis is saying here, the commitment and the time, the money, and everything that goes into these champagnes means that this is the reason why these wines are more expensive than some of the others. I mean, these had to spend a number of years in the cellar. Even with the Ratafia de Champagne Noir, it's lengthy preparation and maturing in the barrels to get the quality of wine that we've got in front of us here. So there's a lot of commitment from the smaller producers to make the quality that they do. So hats off to you. Let's try the last one here, which is the Meunier.
So the Meunier, so this is for me the classical thing, and this is for me very good memories because I really remember when we make the harvest. It's the classical drink during the harvest. I remember with my grandfather to doing some ratafia when I was very, very young. But this is really for me, all memories. I used the plot of the collection of terroir called La Croisette. It's a very old selection. It's a vines my grandfather planted in in 64. So it's very old.
So they are 57 years old.
So on this we have something more mature with, like you say, with the peach, the apricots.
Yeah.
You have the impression that it's more sugar than the other, but not is the same.
I've got like it's a stronger aroma. So I'm edging towards like the cognac style.
Yeah.
Getting that expression.
And this for me, it's very good with some, cheese like the bleu, like the Roquefort, something the very old cheese, very with like this, or like an old camembert, a lot of things. So it's very fun to have this because you have strong and you have the impression that you have more dry apricots. So it's very good to go to have something more mature.
It's got a very strong sugar in the mid-length. So the mid-length is the big part of this one. So it's almost like a treacle pudding. So it's very sticky, it's very like toffee. Caramel is the word I'm looking for.
It's more on caramel. And during the harvest, we have a special tradition with the ratafia meunier. All the time when we load the press, so when we load, we just load with 2 guys. So we load 4,000 kilos. Just after this, we take the time to have a glass. And with my friend, we make all the time a special cocktail. So we put half ratafia meunier.
Yes.
And half champagne, the signature.
The signature.
Yeah, the signature. And we make the special cocktail. And it's very fun. It's a very good cocktail. Just after a good effort, it's very fun, and after you have the energy to work all the day.
Well, I've done grape picking in the past. I was down in the Beaujolais. Twice I've done grape picking, and I can remember you start very early, 6 o'clock in the morning. No matter what the weather is, you're grape picking. At about 8:30, you have breakfast, and he'll come along with some the croissant, the pain, a flute, chocolate, usually saucisson. And then you used to get a man coming around with a big barrel of wine. And we used to have the Gamay, the Beaujolais, starting 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, because that fueled you to carry on. So by the end of the day, in grape picking, you've had too much wine. So the farmer used to say, right, that's it, back.
Yeah.
So,
and we have this tradition at, we make a little pause at 9 a.m. and we make the casse-croûte. So we have some rillettes, some saucisson, and we take the time to have a glass of this special cocktail and the rillettes.
That sounds really good. This is very toasty on the nose.
Yeah.
The combination between the Meunier here and the signature champagne is a toasty expression on the nose, but a very nice toned down sweetness. It's an elegant balance between the two, which is good. I've not yet explored cocktails with ratafia champenois because I'm concerned that the winemaker may feel that we're taking away the character of the ratafia champenois. But this is nice, really good. And if I was great picking, I would want this. Yes.
This is a fun cocktail and an easy cocktail. You don't really have. And during the summer, this cocktail is very good because if all is very fresh,
yes,
you can drink 1, 2, 3 glasses. It's not a problem. It's very good.
this is the first time I've ever mixed anything with Ratafia Champenois. So this is the first for me, and I'm pleased to have tried that with your permission. But look, so you have a representative in the UK, which is good. Do they also sell your Ratafia Champenois as well?
Not yet in the UK for the Ratafia, but
okay, so if somebody was interested, if a venue or a buyer was interested, they can go to your website, I would assume, speak to you directly, and you can get the Ratafia Champenois to them. But what about international? So Japan, Singapore, they're buying champagne. Are they buying Ratafia Champenois?
Yeah, and we sell a lot of Ratafia in Taiwan and in Singapore.
Okay, I'm interested in Taiwan. I've got a good friend that usually lives in Taiwan, in Taipei, and she's a very good journalist, a wine journalist, and she usually, I did a live tasting with some champagnes in a champagne bar on Instagram with her. So I'd be interested to find out what bars have got Ratafia.
We export a lot of Ratafia in Denmark and in Taiwan. It's very fun, and we make the cocktail. So in the old time, like we can say, when we can travel, when I go to the market, we make sometimes the same cocktail that you have made. We make this, and people are very crazy when we make this because they don't made never, and it's very fun, and the people will like this because yes, you have the freshness of the champagne, you have the complexity of the Ratafia, and sometimes the first time the people want to test, it's very fun, and after they try to go and more to test champagne, so it's very fun. And especially in Taiwan, you know, the men just drink spirit, just very strong alcohol.
Yes.
And the women just drink the champagne. And when we come with the Ratafia, so for the women like the Ratafia because they have the impression that it drinks some spirit, but not strong. So more lighter. So it's very fun to see the people in Taiwan to drink this, and it's very fun.
Well, I must say that whenever I've showed people the Ratafia Champenois and they've come round to our house, or I've taken it to their house, they've been blown away by the quality because they know whiskey or cognac, and this is just a lower level of alcohol and burning sensation, but it expresses all the goodness of the grapes from the Champagne region. So every time I show somebody, they love it. And in all honesty, it's not overly expensive for the amount of work that goes into making. So it's there's hopefully good times ahead. Let's see. We'll find out. So, but look, I don't want to keep you any longer. I want to say thank you very much for being so kind to send me the champagne and the Ratafia. I really appreciate that. And thank you for your time. I'll put the information about Alexis and their winery underneath. And if you want to buy their champagne from the UK, or you can contact him directly via their website and discuss details personally. But from Glass of Bubbly and from me, thank you, and hopefully I'll come and see you very soon over there in the Champagne region.
Come when you want, Chris, and thank you for the organization of the live and this good moment. So it's very a pleasure to share our passion, and I can explain how we work. So thank you for this. So,
Thank you, and also thank you very much for doing this in English. So I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. All right. See you. Have a nice evening. Take care.
Take care. Goodbye.
Bye, Alexis. Bye-bye.